Brothers and sisters, soldiers and soldierettes, we are alive and breathing. We are back to conquer another day, as I always say, and salute. And I thank those that have been riding along with the brother, because there are many great brothers and sisters out here. I will always say that. I don't care what's going on, because we have to let those deal with themselves. You know, we can try to teach and lead, but as the old saying goes, we can lead the horse to water, but we can't make them drink. So let's get to those honors. Honor thy ancestors, those who fought to get a lot of us in the state that we're in, those that were righteous, because you know there's always some toxicity somewhere, but we talking about the righteous ancestors, and also those in our families that we held dear that may have transitioned. May they rest in peace and in power, and may all of our families prosper and everything we touch turn to gold, and I mean that. And welcome. This is another edition, if I didn't say it already, another edition of EBX Discussion. And thank those that have been listening to one's music, and I'll try to get other artists of music. Is my son and anybody else I come across. I welcome anyone that has a talent or music or any kind of gift, and I'll promote it for free, you know, because we can't take none of this with us anyway. So nothing against those who, because you know, everybody's road is different. Everybody's journey is different. But this is one journey, which is of truth and, you know, to the best of one's ability. So I can walk along with the rest of the, or ride along, or stand along, or stand with the rest of the like-minded soldiers and soldierettes out here. Salute. And that's also within our families. And I wanted to speak on something that was in one's spirit. You know, when you got that, when you finally have went through all the layers and become awakened, brother or sister, young or old, you will get those divine downloads. And it's the greatest thing, but we have to study to get there. You know, we can't be stuck in the old traditional ways that didn't work for us, like, you know, the umbrella of religion and things of the system. We have to go into our own independent thinking, as long as it's not hurting ourselves or hurt no one else. It's all about growing. Don't care where we are. We got to have that confidence, you know, that divine will give it to us. That's why we're led by that great divine, higher force, Mother Nature, universe. That's who has to say over all. Remember that. So I wanted to speak on and rest in peace and in power to brother Malcolm X, which is on my banner here. And Malcolm X is always in my spirit. I actually did a 3-page report on Malcolm X from one of my favorite teachers that I still learn from today, that I used to learn from. He was in the beginning of my spiritual walk, and this was about, I'll have to say, about 10 years or more, 10 years ago. And it's a lot of teachers I've met along the way, but this is one of the first one. He was a brother, and it's brothers and sisters that I have learned from, and it's great, you know. And I take in whatever I can, because things are not always positive. Sometimes you got to take in those constructive things about oneself. That's how we grow. You know, we can't take things personal. It's about learning, you know, like Arsenio Hall used to say, you know, once we get to that state and we don't take things personal and we're growing, we will ascend every time. So I just wanted to talk about Malcolm X. You know, I did a three-part page, and salute to that brother I learned this from, and he's one of the all-time greatest activists, teacher. He was in a rap group. You know, I don't like to say names a lot because I don't clout chase. I like to lead those to figure it out for themselves. I talk in code sometimes, and that's something we need to get back to, that old ancestral code talk. You know, we gotta get back to that, so that way only those of us that are awakened can overstand and understand what one is talking about. But like I said, salute to that brother I learned from. And like I said, I did a three page. I have it. I got so much papers I've written. I've written rhymes. I got a journal. I do a lot of writing. I haven't done it in a while. Well, I've written like a song I made here recently. Thank those that have been listening. I meant to say thank those that have been listening. I will have future artists that will be on here. I'm working on it. My son especially, I got trying to keep the communication with him. But thank those. And the song I recently made was "It's Never Too Late." It's never too late. Whatever passion it is, I don't care. Don't worry about what person, place, or thing thinks of you. You are led by that great divine. Remember that, brothers and sisters. We got to keep that in one spirit. Stop listening to the human flesh. F the human flesh. Because the human flesh is not shit. Always listen to that divine spirit within, even through the mix of our mistakes. But I wanted to speak on a phrase or a saying that Malcolm X said, and I'm sure he said it more than once, that just stuck in my spirit. And I wanted to speak on it. And it relates to now, even back then, stuff he said. It literally, he predicted what's going on now, as well as a lot of black leaders back in those times, brother or sister. And one thing that he said that stuck with me is if we know what is and we know what was, we know what's to come. And that'll keep us stable. That'll keep us aware and not jumping on bandwagons. And, you know, I remember I made a podcast called the Bumblebee Theory, the honey bumblebee theory. And the system is the honey, and those that are not self-aware and just seeking attention are the bumblebees. So let's not be a bumblebee. Let's have our own spiritual thinking, our own independent thinking, so we can see through the smoke screens. Not about trying to act smart or sound smart. It's about trying to grow and seeing the real humanity of this life through all this crap and this media and the news and you know, and the politics and all these things that can distract us. Because I said this before. One thing I've said to that great divine, I made a promise to that great divine that one will never be distracted. Now, will I have challenges? Of course. Will there be things in my body that I will have to fight? Of course. We all do. But the longer we are on this walk, the more we study, the deeper we become into our spirituality, things won't affect us as much. We will know how to deal with them. Like Malcolm X saying, if we know what is, we know what was, we know what's to come. Now, why this was thinking, this has actually been in my spirit for a few days, but I've been kind of marinating on it and kind of observing and studying things. You know, not really people, just things in general, you know, because I like to look at things that'll feed my mind and make me better, to broaden, you know, one's thinking, you know, and not just for oneself, you know, for those I'm connected to. It's just up to those who connected to us to receive what we're trying to teach and advice we're trying to give and suggestions and all that kind of stuff. Because that's what I always say, brothers and sisters. That's what I do here. One doesn't think he knows everything. I just suggest, teach, and give advice because we're always learning. Even while we're teaching, we're learning, you know, because when we're dealing with that natural divine spirit, we wow ourselves, you know. You never know what'll come up out of you, especially when it's righteous and buried deep within. So knowing what is and knowing what was and knowing what's to come, I think it can help a brother or sister, young or old, a lot on this road, especially in this social media world, the social media jungle. You know, that's what it seems like. So, and we always have to do, brothers and sisters, I always say a little introspection, you know. And I think of when I first started this social media, and that probably was about 15, almost 20 years ago. And the math might be off, but something like that. And of course, our mindset changes over time, especially when we're looking to be righteous, trying to be the best of ourselves, brother or sister, young or old, even in our families, in our circles. When we're searching, no matter where we are, if we keep on and we stay persistent, that higher force will get us to a certain space where we'll be, oh, wow, you know, and it just make us be more hungry for knowledge and wisdom and wanting to share it to others, because it's the greatest gift in the world when we can share it to others. And even if we're wrong about something, and you know, we just go back and we correct it and stay on that walk, you know. That's when it comes to not taking things personal. But I want to get back to this knowing what is and what was and what's to come. Now, these celebrities, I'm not going to beat up on the celebrities. I actually feel sorry for some of them, because it's like it is their fault and it's not their fault. You know, when you have something dangling jewels and money and shiny objects in front of you, if your mindset isn't right, or the state that you're in your life, like if you're going through something, or if you don't have no money, if that negative force that's within this system knows that you are desperate, that's when you get caught up. And then once you're in something toxic, when you're in something deep, when you're deep into it, man, it's wow. And then you try to come out of it, and then all these obstacles get thrown at you. And that's kind of my example of what's happening with a lot of celebrities. And I mean, like I say, I don't want to come off like I know everything, but one has done some research, and I'm sure a lot of us have. We've heard so many things about celebs, it's ridiculous. And so I'm saying that because, as many others has, I'm sure, we have heard things and studied things. I mean, it's almost like I'm tired of hearing it, because you hear the same thing all the time, and it's not nothing that one's not surprised about. And that's why I came up with the title to this podcast, because I'm not surprised of some of the things that are coming down on some of the celebrities. And I do kind of feel sorry, because that's the empathy in me. But one's not stupid, you know, because everyone has a choice. And a lot of these things that some of these celebrities, and that could be brother, sister, male, female, the things that they're indulging in, some of those things, they have to take accountability. Because one thing I know we all have, whether we paid attention to it or not, we do have somewhat of a conscience. I have a full-on, my conscience bothers me when I'm doing something I know I'm not supposed to be doing. But some don't listen to that little, that inner voice that we all talk about. And that's what's going on with a lot of celebs. They don't listen to that voice. They don't think about down the road, what's to come. The more you indulge in toxic behavior, toxic things that's not good for your psyche, and you're affecting others around you, and you just continue this on and on and on, what the hell do you think is going to happen? And again, like I say, I feel sorry for some celebs that's going through what they're going through. Maybe they'll come through it. But I have to say, I got to be a realist, just like Malcolm X was. A lot of us know the shit that we're getting into. And I'm talking about fame and money and attention, that kind of stuff. We know. And as soon as we get a inkling of something that's not right, we should back out of it. But a lot of celebs don't do that because of what? Money, attention, and then you have some, I don't know, is there some good celebs? I don't know, but I'm sure we have some that somehow made it around, maybe made it around the system, and it didn't really get caught up. But I would have to say 1 to 100, at least 85 to 90% of celebs that go into this fame, they don't come out unscathed. They either end up deceased or ruined, or you don't hear about them, or they run to religion, which is a bad idea to me. Don't run to religion, brothers and sisters that might be in this position or situation. No, run to yourself. Go to that mirror, meditate, get into that divine spirit within. Damn a religion, nothing against religion. But if it's not tapping into that inner divine spirit, you pouring water into a bucket with a hole in it. Because you have to go to thyself. No outer thing in this world is going to get you to connect. Now, this ain't just celebs. This is anybody that's just in this life for attention and vain and want views. And I mean, it's good to get views, but if you have a righteous heart, if you're trying to reach people, if you're trying to grow, because it's going to show, how we live our lives in the present, it's going to show in the future. How we are will show eventually. But if you're a true, authentic brother or sister, young or old, to the pit of your soul, those will respect that. Even if they don't overstand us, it's okay. They will respect it. Because when you let yourself, when you are compromised, when your natural self, and I don't want to say this wrong, now when your natural self have been penetrated, compromised, and you letting your I don't know what some of these celebrities be thinking, what goes on with them, and why they do the things they do, or I think it's the environment they are in, and a lot of them are sick in a way and don't realize that they are sick, because attention, money, and fame can almost be a sickness, but when you're caught up, when you're in the midst of it, and you feel like a king or a queen, and you don't see it until it all comes falling down. Because what you put toxic up into the atmosphere, it eventually comes down. I made a podcast about this a while back. It's probably been about a year ago. What goes up must come down. That's the law of attraction, brothers and sisters. So if you evil and toxic over the years, and you've been indulging in toxic sexual behavior and against natural things, and you know this within yourself, because we all know, even if we try to hide it, once we get by ourselves, brothers and sisters, we're gonna know, especially those carrying demons within. Now, you do have some that are aware of the toxic things they might be doing in the industry and don't care. Woo! I feel sorry for you, because that hell is coming. It probably already has, because I remember researching, the industry and celebs and stuff a while back. And I would have to say, it's this guy that used to speak. I haven't heard him in a while. He was actually a Caucasian guy, but he spoke out against the industry and the things. And this had to have been about 20 years ago. I don't even see his channel anymore. I think they tore it down, because this guy was, he was a Caucasian, but he was thorough, and he said a lot of things that, that I probably wouldn't say, but I learned a lot from this guy. And it's crazy, the things, he was another George Carlin, he was just like George Carlin. He had a YouTube channel, but it's like I can no longer find it. But a lot of things that he spoke about are happening now, and it's wow. It's like, wow. And one thing he said is kind of on a spiritual level, and some people might think it's kind of cosmic or weird, but he said a lot, some, maybe not all celebs, but he said some celebs are fallen angels. Because remember, this is biblical. We gonna talk to biblical, because he was a Christian, but he was one of those. He was a fired up Christian. He went beyond Christianity, but he had this thing where he talked about, remember, God and the devil had this fight, and the devil, I don't know exactly how the story goes, because I've never written the whole Bible, but remember, the devil fell from heaven, but he took went with him. Some angels went with him. So, and it was kind of brilliant how he said this. And he said the falling angels fell into the celebrities. Remember, because wickedness is in high places. So if you think about it, it does kind of make sense. So the fallen angels from the devil, they all transformed into celebrities with, stars, singers, some rappers, not all of them now, but some of them. And you can tell the ones that have demons in them, even though they try to camouflage it, do other things to distract us from seeing that demon that they have. But you can't hide what's inside. I've said this so many times. The universe is going to draw it out. Once you have indulged in evil, demonic things, the divine has no responsibility for that, because the public is going to do what it do. And the social media, like I said, so I've said this before too. If you're not living somewhat of a right life, it's going to come out. Because you got brothers and sisters, you got real brothers and sisters too that's in this social media. But even those that, might be doing it for views, still, that's karma. You shouldn't have been indulging in that toxic shit. You can't get mad at those that's exposing you, because some of us have children, and you do have activists and speakers that are real and don't take no shit and don't like the things, the way of the system and how it does in the industry and how it does our brothers and sisters in the industry. Because now, like I say, I don't condone some of the shit that some of these celebs doing, brother or sister, male or female. But when we have studied, when we are self-aware, and we know what is and we know what was, and we know what's to come. We know it's not, we know how they got that way. A lot of them were manipulated, tricked, put in a situation where they couldn't get out of, or threatened. There's things like that that go on, and it's all out there. It's not a secret. So that's why I came up with this topic, because, and I don't want to just make this whole thing about celebs, because I really don't do celebs, but like I've said, when brothers and sisters are truly connected to that divine, we will pick up the power of observation, and we will notice little things. We will notice little details, because that's what that divine does. That's what Mother Nature does. That's what the universe does. Wants us to notice things, don't want us to miss things, because that great divine wants our soldiers and soldierettes, salute, to be firm and be on point at all costs, because things are getting weirder, crazier, different, whatever you want to call it. We definitely are in different times, and a lot of things that's going on. Malcolm X would be he'd be rolling in his grave right now. So I salute any black brother or sister from back in the days, in the present, or in the future that mean well for this humanity. Because even if you're in a small space, small space, and you think you don't have an effect, yes you do, because that the great divine is listening. Remember, the great divine runs all this shit. We just got to keep that in mind. Stop keeping our thinking so small. Take our thinking above and beyond, because the great divine is bigger than all of this. We are like ants to that great divine. So that's why we have much, much respect for that higher force, no matter what. That's who has to say overall. So it's just for something that was in my spirit. Like I say, I don't want to make the whole show about celebs, but it's just mostly about how things, are distracting us. I mean, I'm not surprised. Like I just said about that little example a while ago that I heard from the Caucasian dude, and it kind of makes sense, because look what's happening. It's like they're fallen angels, wicked things in high places. Just take a look around. Social media in this world is our evidence. We don't have to do too much research. Some things we have to go deep on, go in deep, I meant to say, but just observe and pay attention. And we go into our quiet moments and just be quiet sometimes. You'll see a lot when you're quiet, not that we're shy, not that we're antisociable or not trying to be with one, but you see more when you have the power of silence. So, and you also, when you have the power of silence, you'll be able to see what is, what was, and what's to come. Because I'm sick of I like some of the movies. I'm a fan of some celebs, but it's just the same thing that keeps happening over and over and over. And everybody does the same thing every time they put something out there. I'll speak on it a little bit, but I won't give it all my energy. I'm going to focus on my family, children, myself, those that engage in listening to what I'm saying, and those that are connected to me, anybody. That's what I'm going to focus on. Our psyche, bettering ourselves, not being entertained by the hoorah and the gossiping of all this media crap. We got to stick to the things that are important, because we have, like I said, there's always somebody out there that's hurting. And we have those that lives are changing by listening to those who speak, because words can be powerful. That's why we should be in a good space when we're using them. And I said this on a recent podcast about the words. It's a billion trillion words in this world. And, once we do something, we can fix it, whatever, but it's still there. So just don't waste our words on crap. I'm not perfect, because, I have to check myself on a daily basis, but it's beautiful when we're able to self-check our own selves. And that just make us better to those that are before us. And that's what it's all about. So this was just in my spirit. We got to know what is, what was, wants to come. Thank you, Malcolm X. Rest in peace and in power, because that spirit is always in me. Something about that saying that just stick with me. That's why when I see these things about celebs, I go, oh, here another one. I say, who's next? I'm just sick of it. So, where's the music? And now I'm talking about artists. I want to hear the music. I don't want no gimmicks. I don't want what you're selling. I don't want no t-shirt. I don't want none of that. I want hip hop. I want music, R&B. like it used to be back in the days, back in the 70s, back in them times. That's what we need to get back to, because that's what it was, and that's what it can be. We got to get away from the commercialing. We need to get back to originality. I don't believe in that. I don't believe, for one, I don't care about the AI and all that. That doesn't frighten me. I'm not afraid of it, because one thing about a robot, brothers and sisters, it always have to be updated. It's too much maintenance. It's expensive. So don't get scared by all this technology crap. I don't get scared by it. It's just my opinion now. But when you're led by that great divine, know that the great divine created all this and can tear all this shit down. All that old robot and AI and all that crap, I could give a damn about that shit. One will not live in fear. If the great divine has brought us through from the past, just think about it, brothers and sisters. Think about the hardest things in the past that you came through. And back then, we thought things were impossible. So why would it be any different now? So don't be overwhelmed by all this AI and think the robot's going to take. It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out, because natural and artificial cannot mix. We have to know this. So that's why I'm not afraid. And if I have to change or adapt, a great divine will put it in our. Well, if we have to change or adapt or something comes along, great divine will put it in our spirit. Nature will be there. Stop being afraid of this robot crap, So, and you'll be fine. You'll make a way, because those that are truly self-aware to the pit of our soul, brother or sister, especially if we are a teacher, we're a student and a teacher, we always find a way. Brothers that's been through the most and still standing today, and strong brothers and sisters, we always find the way, because that's a gift that great divine has given one. I've always had the knack to get out of tight situations. I don't know. It's like we can be, and I'm sure others, can relate to this. We've been in situations, I'm talking about those that are real, true, emphasis on real, and have been through the levels to get to the state that we're in. We just have that ability to get out of tight situations, and that divine gives us that spirit, because that divine has a plan for us. So we shouldn't worry about things to come. We shouldn't worry about AI. We just keep forging forward and do what we do. And that's bettering ourselves and helping to better those in our circle so they can be strong, so they can be teachers. Because I remember hearing this on a brother's podcast one time, and I agree with him. And it's good to listen to one speak, of course, because we can get that energy out there as much as we can. But I want those that listen to me to learn from me and then take your own journey. You know what I'm saying? Take your own journey, take up that torch, and do the same thing. Maybe not as I'm doing it as others. Whatever truth is in your life or on your journey, brother or sister, young or old, and do your thing, and that's what it's about. We all can become teachers and leaders, So that's just something that was in my spirit. And thank you, Malcolm X, for keeping that in my spirit. And I'm glad I studied that brother and did research and helps to understand. I also did about 3-page report on Bob Marley. I studied him, and it really gave me insight in those brothers' lives, really knowing who they are and things that I didn't know about Bob Marley or Malcolm X, So it's beautiful to do our own little research and our own little reports. It's beautiful, we be our own school. It's the most beautiful thing when we get to this state, and can't be afraid of what person, place, or thing thinks of us. Mostly things or place, because those of us in a righteous circle, we're not really too much worried about person. Because if you're in a good environment, you won't think about things like that. You just learn from one another. So stay aware, brothers and sisters. Don't get too caught up in this media shit, And I say this out of love. This all comes from love. Not that I'm trying to make everybody do what I do. It's just an advice, suggestion, and an opinion. That's all. Because I want our minds to be focused and on the important things of life. Because sometimes this celeb stuff is nothing but a distraction. It's nothing but entertainment and gossip. If it's nothing about growth or growing, I'm tired of hearing some of this shit. You know, that's why you don't hear me talk that much about celebs. And you will never see pictures of them all over my banner. You know, I'm going to stick to what's important. I'm not going to give that any mind. They made celebs that are going through what they're going through. They made their choice. And a lot of them know, if they didn't know, they did begin to know. And if they didn't want to come out of it, they should have made different choices. They should have been happy with who they were, you know. So, like I say, I got love, but I'm also a realist. I don't judge. I assess as I learn from a great brother. Salute. But I am a realist. We have to be a realist too. You know, that's how we stay focused. That's how we stay on point. And when we do that, brothers and sisters, and this is on everything. Remember, this is a broad thing, not just celebs, or this is in life in general. We will know what is, what was, and what's to come. Once we know those three things, nothing can stop a righteous brother or sister. And that's anything in our lives, in social media, in the world. Remember, this is an over, above, and beyond thing. So if we got those three things in our system, and we are truly authentic to the pit of our soul with no bullshit, nothing can stop us. So that's my thought. And I just had to get that out. This is, like I said, it's been tinkering around in my spirit for a few days. Been wanting to talk about it. It's a saying that's been in my spirit for a long time, man. I just kind of keep it with me, you know. So just a few things I wanted to talk about. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you got somewhat of an understanding of, you know, I'm not saying none of us don't know this, but, you know, just another perspective on how this system is run in this industry and what it's repeatedly doing over and over. And not all of us now, but a lot of us are keep jumping on that bandwagon. When is it going to change? It's like the same thing over and over and over. So I'm done. I'm so over the celebs. I'm done. I'm sick of the bullshit. You know, I want to hear about you making a movie or doing. I'm talking about artists or star. You know, I want, you know, if you're doing a good movie, good, whatever. If you're making music, that's what I want to know about. I don't want the gimmicks. I don't want the drama in the media. You know, because I love hip hop for one. I love music, period. But hip hop is my first love. So that's what we need to get back to. The authentic things of life, not just music, anything, you know. And again, I say these are three powerful things that we can have in our spirit that'll keep us strong on our walk. When we know what is, know what was, and know what's to come. So I salute the reachers and teachers out there that's doing their thing. And thank those that have been riding along with a brother. I really do appreciate you, you know, whether you react or not. Only thing that matters to me is that you get something out of it and you teach it to someone else. Thank you. And I honor your family. I honor my family. I honor my children, their mothers, brothers and sisters all over the world. May you please have the ultimate peace in your part of the world. Salute.